When my daughter told me to go find somewhere else to die, I was useless now. I packed my bags like I always had. 3 days later, I was in a lawyer's office finding out that my so-called loving husband had played the longest game of tricks in history. Jennifer was about to learn that sometimes the person with nothing becomes the person with everything. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. Let me tell you how I went from living in my car to the woman holding all the power. Because this story has more surprises than you can count. 2 months ago, I was Patricia Hayes, devoted wife of 43 years and mother to one very ungrateful daughter. When Thomas died of a heart attack at 71, I thought my life was over. Jennifer came to me during my sadness like a bird circling food, acting concerned about how hard this must be for me. "Mom, you can't stay in this big house alone," she said, with fake worry in her voice. "The stairs, the upkeep, all those memories. It's not good for you." I should have seen what she was really doing. Jennifer had always been Thomas's favorite, his little girl who could do no wrong. When she married that banker guy, Marcus, and started having kids, Thomas spoiled them all. Meanwhile, I was just the woman cooking and cleaning and making sure everything worked. After the funeral, Jennifer kept pushing the idea of me moving. She'd bring Marcus over for dinners where they'd corner me with papers about real estate and brochures for senior living communities. "Mom, these places are wonderful. You'd be with people your own age, doing activities, no work." What they really meant was no money to split, no mother getting in their way. The worst moment came last Tuesday. I'd been staying in what Jennifer now called their house for 6 weeks since Thomas died. I was still sleeping in the guest room because I couldn't pack up our bedroom yet. Jennifer showed up without calling, bringing Marcus and 2 big suitcases. "Mom, we've decided something. Marcus got the big promotion, and we need to move into the city right now. This house is perfect for us." I didn't understand what she was saying. "Move in? But this is where I live." Jennifer's nice face disappeared for a second, showing the cold person underneath. "Actually, Mom, according to Dad's will, I got everything. The house, the money, all of it. I've been letting you stay here because I felt bad, but now you need to find your own place." Those words hit me hard. "Jennifer, something must be wrong. There's no mistake. Dad knew I'd take better care of his things than you ever could. You never understood money or business. You were just the wife. Just the wife." 43 years of marriage, summed up in 3 words. Then she said the thing I'll never forget. "Go find somewhere else to die. You're useless now." I packed everything in 1 day. 43 years of marriage fit into 2 suitcases and a small box of pictures. Jennifer watched from the door, looking at her watch like I was making her late. "There's a nice senior place on Maple Street," she said like she was telling me about a good restaurant. "Very cheap. I'm sure they have space." Cheap. My daughter was getting $33 million and suggesting I move to a place for poor old people. Marcus put my bags in their car the way someone throws out trash. "Margaret, you'll be so happy being on your own," he said, not looking at my eyes. "No more fixing things in the house or dealing with taxes. No more home," is what he meant. As we drove away, I watched my house, Thomas's house, Jennifer's house now, get smaller in the mirror. It was strange to think about. I'd spent 4 decades making that house a real home, throwing birthday parties for Jennifer, taking care of Thomas when he was sick, keeping every detail he cared about. Now I was being driven to a cheap motel like I was a guest who'd stayed too long. The sun set and was exactly what you'd expect from $49 a night. Thin walls, thin towels, and carpet that had seen better times. Jennifer gave me $200 like she was tipping a maid. "This will cover you for a few days until you get settled," she said. "Marcus will put some money in your bank account once we go through Dad's papers." Some money for my own inheritance. After they left, I sat on the bed and tried to understand what had just happened. In 3 hours, I'd gone from a grieving wife to an old woman with no home. The girl I'd loved and raised had thrown me away like something broken. But sitting there in that sad room, something started bothering me. Thomas had always been careful about his papers, super organized about important stuff. He'd shown me his will years before, explaining what he wanted, making sure I understood. I was absolutely sure that's not what it said. Thomas was lots of things, old-fashioned, stubborn, sometimes talked down to me about money, but he wasn't cruel. The man who held my hand when my mother died, who brought me flowers every anniversary, wouldn't have left me with nothing. The next morning, I used the hotel Wi-Fi to search for Thomas's lawyer, Michael Harris. It was the same lawyer who'd handled our house buying and other business stuff for years. His office was downtown, 20 minutes by bus that cost me money I didn't have much of, but I had to go. Michael Harris was a distinguished man in his 70s, with kind eyes behind glasses. When his secretary said I was there about my husband's estate, he looked really surprised. "Patricia, my goodness, I've been trying to call your house many times, but Jennifer told me you were away on a trip." "Away?" That's what my daughter had told him. "Mr. Harris, I need to ask you about Thomas's will." He looked confused. "Of course. Didn't Jennifer give you your copy?" "I gave her the original and copies after we read it." My stomach dropped. There was a reading. "Patricia, you were supposed to be there. Jennifer said you were too upset and that she'd take care of it and make sure you got your share." The blood left my face as I realized what happened. "Mr. Harris, I was never told about any reading. Jennifer told me she got everything." Michael Harris's face changed from confused to worried. He reached for a thick folder of papers, and his movements got faster. "Patricia, that can't be right. Your husband's will is very clear about what you get." He pulled out a document. I knew Thomas's handwriting on the bottom. It was witnessed and notarized. But as Michael started reading, I saw that Jennifer had lied about everything. "I, Thomas Richard Mason, being of sound mind and body, do give to my wife Patricia and Mason the following. Our main house at 847 Oakwood Drive, including all the things inside and stuff we own. Also, I leave her 70% of all money, business deals, and bank accounts adding up to about $23 million. My head started spinning. $23 million. The house, 70% of everything. Michael kept reading, his voice getting more serious. "To my daughter, Jennifer Mason Roberts, I give $10 million to be held in trust with money given to her starting on her 45th birthday. The money comes with one condition: how she treats her mother after I die. Treats me with respect." Thomas had known. He somehow knew exactly what Jennifer would try to do. "Mr. Harris," I whispered. "Jennifer told me I got nothing. She moved into my house. She gave me $200 and told me to find a senior place." The older lawyer's face turned red with anger. "Patricia, what Jennifer did is called elder abuse and fraud. She broke multiple laws. But she had legal papers. She showed me documents, forged probably, or maybe papers from an old version. Your husband changed his will 6 months before he died. He did this because he was worried about Jennifer's attitude toward money and how she thought she deserved everything." The room was spinning. All those times Jennifer dismissed what I said, talked over me at dinner, rolled her eyes when I tried to talk about their expensive trips or Marcus's job. Thomas had been watching, thinking, making plans. "There's more, Patricia. The trust for Jennifer says that if she doesn't treat you with respect and dignity after I die, all $10 million goes to you instead." I stared at him in shock. "Are you telling me?" "I'm saying your daughter just cost herself $10 million. Her money is now yours as well. You're not getting $23 million, Patricia. You're getting $33 million plus the house and all our things." The thing that happened was so perfect it was almost funny. Jennifer had wanted her money so badly that she triggered the exact rule designed to protect me from her wanting too much. "What do I do now?" I asked, barely able to speak. Michael smiled, and for the first time since Thomas died, I felt real warmth directed at me. "Now, dear, we call the police about the fraud. And then we call Jennifer and tell her she's about to get the shock of her life. Can she fight this? With what money? Everything she thought she controlled actually belongs to you. Every account, every investment, every bank account, every asset except your house is frozen while we investigate her crimes. I thought about Jennifer in my house, probably already planning to change things, shopping for new stuff with money she thought was hers. Marcus was probably thinking about how the money would help his job plans. They had no idea that in about 6 hours, their whole world was going to fall apart. Michael Harris's office became where we planned everything. He cheerfully called it Operation Justice. He called the police, the banks, and a private investigator while I sat in his leather chair, still trying to understand how much Jennifer had lied. The fake documents are very good, Detective Wilson explained as she looked at the fake will Jennifer had shown me. This wasn't something done fast. Someone planned this carefully. You think Jennifer had help? I asked. Almost definitely. Making fake legal papers that look real takes special knowledge and connections. We'll need to find out if Marcus or someone in his money business was part of this. Within 2 hours, every account was frozen. Jennifer's credit cards that she thought were tied to her new inheritance were declined. The house bills, which she'd already moved to her name, were turned off because no one could prove who owned the house. My phone rang at exactly 3:47 p.m. Jennifer's name showed up on the screen.
Mom, where are you?
The bank is saying Dad's money is frozen. Hello, Jennifer. I'm sitting in Michael Harris's office. You remember him? Dad's lawyer, the one who read the real will to an empty room while you told him I was traveling. Silence. Then, Mom, I don't know what you think you found, but I found out you're a liar and a thief. Sweetheart, I also found out that your father was much smarter than either of us gave him credit for. You don't get it. I was protecting you from the hard work of managing all that money. You've never had to deal with money stuff. Or I get it perfectly. You made fake legal papers, committed fraud, and kicked your 67-year-old mother out of her own house because you thought I was too stupid to see what you were doing. Her voice got sharp and desperate. Mom, you're confused. The sadness has been too much, and someone is obviously lying to you about how you should feel. The nerve was shocking. Even caught doing exactly what I said, Jennifer was trying to trick me. Jennifer, let me tell you something clear. Not only did you never get anything, but your actual money, the $10 million your father left you, is now mine. This is because of a nice rule your father put in there about treating me with respect and care. That's not possible. Detective Wilson is right here if you want to talk to her about how fraud really works. The phone went quiet. I could almost hear Jennifer's mind working, trying to find a way out. Mom, can we meet and talk about this in a sensible way? I'm sure we can fix this somehow. Oh, we're definitely meeting soon at the court when you're charged. You wouldn't really press charges against your own daughter. Something cold and final settled in my chest. Watch me. I hung up and looked at Michael, who was smiling like he was proud of me. How long until she's arrested? Detective Wilson has what she needs for an arrest warrant. They'll pick her up this evening. What about Marcus? Are they getting his stuff? His financial records are being looked at closely. If he helped make those fake papers, he'll be charged too. My phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer. Mom, don't do this, please. Think about the grandkids. I showed Detective Wilson, who smiled with no humor. Emotional games, classic for this type of crime. I typed back, I'm thinking about them. They deserve to see what happens when you steal from family. 20 minutes later, Marcus called. Margaret, surely we can work this out between us. Jennifer made some bad decisions, but getting the police involved seems like too much. Marcus, did you help her make those fake papers? That's not. You have to know the pressure Jennifer was under. She was worried about your thinking, about whether you could handle big amounts of money. So that's yes. It wasn't mean. She truly believed she was protecting you by throwing me out of my house and telling me to go die somewhere. Marcus didn't say anything. Marcus, here's what's going to happen. You're both going to be arrested. You're both going to face big fraud charges. And I'm going to be in my house, watching it all go down. Margaret, please be smart about this. I was smart for 43 years. It didn't help me much. The police arrested Jennifer at 8:30 p.m. while she was eating at Leonard's, probably celebrating her money with Marcus and another couple. According to Detective Wilson, she screamed about false arrest and asked to call her lawyer, who turned out to be Marcus's golf friend and had never worked on criminal cases. Marcus was arrested at his office the next morning. The money expert had traced the fake papers back to a print shop that Marcus's company used for making fake business papers. Apparently, my son-in-law had done illegal money stuff before that Jennifer either didn't know about or didn't care about. I spent my first night back in my house in 43 years sleeping in the main bedroom. Jennifer had already moved her clothes into the space, replacing Thomas's neat organization with her messy designer stuff and expensive makeup. I put everything in garbage bags and left them on the porch. She could collect them when she gets out of jail. The house felt different now, not because Thomas was gone, but because I was finally seeing it as mine. For decades, I'd kept it how Thomas wanted it, designed for his preferences, his needs, his way of thinking about how we should live. Now, looking at it fresh, I realized how little of me was in these rooms. That was going to change. Michael called around lunchtime with news. Jennifer's bail is set at $50,000. Since all her money is frozen, she'll need to find someone else to pay it. What about Marcus? $200,000. The judge didn't like his history with money crimes. Who knew your son-in-law had been under investigation for business fraud before? I definitely didn't. But then I was left out of most family money conversations. Jennifer and Marcus always talked to me like I was a kid when money came up, using simple words like I couldn't understand big ideas. They were about to learn how much I'd actually paid attention. Michael, I want to change things in the house. Jennifer had workers ready to do big renovations. I'd like to do the work she wanted to do, but with my own ideas instead. Excellent thought. It's your home now, Patricia. Do whatever makes you happy. What made me happy, I figured out, was changing everything Jennifer had planned. She wanted to redo the kitchen, change the floors, and turn Thomas's office into a wine storage room. I was going to make the office into an art space and turn the wine idea into a library. My phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Hayes, this is Janet from Channel 7 News. We know you're the person harmed in a big fraud case involving your daughter. Would you want to tell your story? The news was getting out. In a city this size, arresting a well-known banker and his wife for stealing from his wife's older mother was big news. Miss Janet, I appreciate this, but I'm not ready to talk to the media right now. I understand this is hard, but your story could help other old people spot family money abuse. She had a point. How many older women like me were being tricked by kids who saw them as obstacles to getting money? If I told my story, would I control how it's presented? Absolutely. We could do a real interview where you'd have approval over what gets shown. I thought about Jennifer, probably in a cell right now, still thinking this was a mistake she could charm her way out of. Miss Janet, let me call you back. I might have quite a story to share. I hung up and got myself a glass of the expensive wine Kevin had sent us for Christmas, wine I was now drinking in my own house with my own money while thinking about whether to talk about Jennifer on TV. Life had certainly become interesting. The doorbell rang at 7 a.m. sharp. Through the window, I could see Jennifer on my front porch wearing yesterday's clothes and looking like she'd aged years overnight. She'd gotten out of jail. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in.
Mom, please.
We need to talk. We already talked yesterday. You told me to find somewhere else to die. I found somewhere to live instead. Jennifer's eyes were red. Her usual perfect look completely gone. I made big mistakes. Really bad mistakes. But I'm still your daughter. Are you? Because daughters don't usually make fake papers to steal their mom's money. I wasn't stealing. I was. She stopped, clearly having trouble finding words that didn't sound criminal. You were what, Jennifer? I was trying to protect you from making bad money decisions. You've never handled big money. Even now, even after being arrested for fraud, she couldn't tell the truth. In Jennifer's mind, she was still the one being wronged. Jennifer, let me tell you something your father told me 6 months before he died. He said he was worried about how you thought you deserved everything, how you dealt with money, and how you acted to people you thought were below you. Her face went white. Dad never said that. He said you reminded him of his sister, Elizabeth. Beautiful, charming, but only thinking about yourself. He told me he was changing his will because he was scared of what you'd do to me if you had the power. That's not true. I pulled out my phone and showed her a video file. Actually, it is. Your father recorded a message to be played if you ever argued about the will or if you treated me badly after he died. Jennifer stared at my phone like it was a snake.
He knew, sweetheart.
He knew exactly who you were behind all that charm. The only thing he didn't know was how far you'd actually go. Play it, she whispered. I touched the screen and Thomas's voice came through, clear, steady, and absolutely devastating. If you're hearing this, Jennifer, it means my worries about you were correct. I hoped I was wrong. I hoped my daughter had more honor than I thought. But if Patricia is playing this, it means you've shown me I was right in the worst way. Jennifer sat down on the porch steps as Thomas's voice kept going. I watched your mother give up her dreams, her goals, her own life to take care of our family for 43 years. She worked part-time so we could pay for your college while I built my business. She paused her own education, gave up job chances, and put everything she had into being the wife and mother she thought we needed. The recording went for 3 more minutes, every word picked carefully. Every sentence like a knife cutting through Jennifer's excuses and false beliefs. By the time you hear this, you'll know that treating your mother badly has cost you everything. I hope it was worth it. When it ended, Jennifer was crying. Not the pretty tears she'd used to get what she wanted her whole life, but real, broken cries. He hated me, she whispered. No, Jennifer, he loved you enough to wish you'd show him he was wrong. You chose to show him he was right instead. She looked at me, tears and makeup running down her face. What happens now? Now you deal with what you did. The fraud charges, the investigation, the shame when this story gets out. The news. Channel 7 wants to talk to me about older people and money abuse. I'm thinking about saying yes. Jennifer's face crumbled. Mom, think about what this will do to the grandkids, to Marcus's job, to all of us.
I am thinking about it.
I'm thinking about how you didn't think about any of this when you decided to break multiple laws. She stood up slowly, looking older than I'd ever seen her. I know you won't believe me, but I never wanted it to get this bad. I wanted the money. I wanted to feel safe, to have status. I wanted to never have to worry about anything. For the first time since all this started, Jennifer was being honest. I believe you, sweetheart, but wanting something doesn't make it okay to hurt people to get it.
She nodded, tears still going.
What can I do to fix this? You can start by saying what you did was wrong. Not confused, not trying to help, not complicated, just wrong. It was completely wrong. And then you can face what comes next with some pride instead of trying to trick your way out of it. Jennifer looked at me for a long time, maybe seeing for the first time not the mom she'd always pushed around, but the woman who'd beaten her completely. I deserved this, didn't I? Yes, Jennifer. You absolutely did. 3 days after Jennifer's porch talk, Marcus's mother showed up at my door. Eleanor Thompson was everything I'd thought she'd be. Perfectly done hair, covered in jewelry, and acting like she was better than everyone else because of inherited money. Margaret, we should talk about this situation in a reasonable way. I let her inside, interested to see what kind of story the Thompson family had made up about their son's felony charges. Eleanor sat down like she was doing me a favor. Marcus made some poor choices, obviously, but pressing charges seems like revenge, don't you think? Revenge? Your son helped steal my money and kicked me out of my own house. Marcus was just doing what Jennifer wanted. He didn't get what was really happening. She was actually blaming my daughter for her son's illegal stuff. I had to respect how bold she was. Mrs. Thompson, Marcus made forged legal papers. That's not listening to someone. That's conspiracy to commit fraud. Marcus's lawyers think we can work out a deal that's good for everyone. You get your house back. Jennifer deals with what she did. And Marcus avoids the court case and news. Good for everyone. Like Jennifer's crimes were just a small rudeness. What kind of deal? Eleanor smiled, clearly thinking she'd found a way in. Marcus's family will give you money for your trouble. Let's say $2 million to drop the charges against Marcus. $2 million to forgive the man who helped steal $33 million from me. Mrs. Thompson, your son helped with a plan that took everything I had. $2 million is enough? Margaret, be real. Marcus has a job, kids, a reputation. Sending him to prison helps no one. It helps fairness. Eleanor's polished face cracked a little. Fairness? You're ruining multiple families over money you wouldn't have even known how to manage. There it was. The same stuck-up attitude that had poisoned my friendship with Jennifer. In their world, I was just the help who got lucky. Mrs. Thompson, I think we're finished here. Margaret, please rethink this. $5 million is my last offer. $5 million to let Marcus go free. The number was huge, but the principle was not negotiable. My answer is no. Eleanor stood, her composure perfectly back together. Well then. But you should know that Marcus's lawyers have dug up some interesting things about your husband's business. It would be unfortunate if that became public during the trial. The threat was clear, but I felt no fear, only wanting to know more. What kind of things? The type that might make you wonder if the real criminal is the person you're protecting. After she left, I called Michael right away. Margaret, whatever they think they know, it doesn't change the facts of Victoria and Marcus's crimes. But could it change how the trial goes? Maybe. If they can make enough doubt about Robert's character or business, it might change how a jury thinks. I thought about Thomas, about our marriage, about all the secret stuff in 43 years of shared life. Michael, I want to know everything about Thomas's business. Every deal, every partnership, everything that might be wrong. Margaret, are you sure? Sometimes the past is better left unknown. The Thompson family is saying they'll make Robert look bad to save their criminal son. I'd rather know the truth first. That evening, I sat in Thomas's office, my office now, and started going through his papers carefully. Thomas had been super organized, every paper dated and sorted. But as I dug deeper into his business stuff, I started finding things that didn't make sense. Money to shell companies, consulting charges that were too high, partnerships with companies that only existed on paper. By midnight, I'd found something that changed everything I thought I knew about my husband. The private investigator Michael recommended was a sharp woman named Carol Wong, who worked with money crimes. She spent 6 hours in Thomas's office, taking pictures of papers and building what she called the real picture of my husband's business world. Mrs. Hayes, your husband was running a sophisticated scheme to wash money through his consulting company. We're talking about millions of dollars in dirty transactions over the past decade. The news hit me hard. That's not possible. Thomas was the most honest person I knew. I'm sorry, but the evidence is very clear. He was washing money for organized crime families using his real business as a cover. I stared at the papers on Thomas's desk. Bills for work that never happened. Consulting deals with companies that didn't exist, payment schedules that matched known criminal activity. How long has this been going on? Based on these papers, at least 12 years, probably longer. 12 years. While I was throwing dinner parties and going to charity events, my husband was helping criminals. Mrs. Hayes, there's more. The $10 million Thomas left Jennifer, that money came directly from washed, dirty money. If the FBI finds out, they'll take everything as criminal proceeds. The room started spinning. Everything, the house, the investments, all of it. Unless what? Carol looked uncomfortable. Unless Jennifer and Marcus's lawyers already know about this and plan to use it against you. If they tell the FBI about your husband's crimes, they might be able to get immunity in exchange for helping. My daughter and her husband weren't just thieves. They had a bomb they could drop on me. What are my options? Legally, you could call the FBI yourself, tell them everything, and hope they're lenient. You'd lose most of the money, but you might keep the house. And if I don't, Jennifer and Marcus's lawyers will probably tell the FBI information on purpose. You'll lose everything anyway, and you might also face charges for getting money from criminal activity without knowing. I thought about Eleanor Thompson's smug face, how sure she was I'd accept their money offer. They'd known about Thomas's crimes the whole time.
Carol, how did they find out about this?
Marcus is an investment banker. He'd see the patterns in your husband's money papers. The question is, what are they planning to do with what they know?
My phone rang.
Jennifer's number. Mom, we need to meet tonight. There are things you need to know about Dad that change everything. I already know, Jennifer. Silence. Then you know what? I know about the money washing. I know about the criminal ties. I know that everything your father left us is dirty. Mom, listen to me carefully. Marcus's lawyers have been talking to the FBI. They're willing to change our situation.
What kind of change?
Marcus gets immunity in exchange for information about Dad's criminal group. You get to keep $5 million and the house. The rest goes to the government.
And you?
The fraud charges disappear.
We all get out of this mess. It was smart in a twisted way.
Jennifer had turned my victory into her advantage. Jennifer, you're asking me to help you profit from your crimes by using Dad's crimes. I'm asking you to be practical. The other choice is losing everything and maybe getting charges yourself. I looked around Thomas's office, seeing it clearly. The expensive furniture, the rare books, the art, all bought with criminal money.
I need to think about this.
Mom, the FBI meeting is tomorrow morning. Marcus's lawyer needs an answer tonight. After hanging up, I sat in the dark office surrounded by papers showing my husband's secret life. 43 years of marriage to a stranger. A daughter who'd inherited more than just money from her father. She'd inherited his skill at lying. But she'd made one big mistake. She'd underestimated who I am when I'm backed into a corner. I picked up my phone and called Carol Wong.
Carol, how fast can you get me to the FBI?
I have a story to tell them, and I think they're going to find it really interesting. FBI agent Sarah Martinez looked exactly like what you'd expect from a federal investigator. Serious, smart, and not at all affected by charm. She sat across from me in Michael's conference room, recording our talk and taking notes like a machine. Mrs. Hayes, you understand that by coming forward, you're admitting you got money from criminal activity? I understand, but I'd rather tell you the truth than let my daughter and her husband manipulate this to help themselves.
I told her everything.
Thomas's hidden business, Jennifer's fraud plan, Marcus's fake papers, and the threat they called a settlement offer. Your daughter thinks she can trade information about your husband's crimes for freedom from her own charges. That's exactly what she thinks, and she thinks I'll go along because I'm scared of losing everything. Agent Martinez smiled for the first time. Are you scared, Mrs. Hayes? Agent Martinez, 2 weeks ago, I was a sad widow in a cheap motel. Today, I'm here telling federal agents about my dead husband's criminal business. Fear is not what I'm feeling. What is anger? Pure anger at being played by people who thought I was stupid my whole life. Agent Martinez smiled bigger. Mrs. Hayes, would you wear a recording device? 3 hours later, I was in my living room with a recording device taped to my chest, waiting for Jennifer and Marcus to show up for what they thought was a surrender meeting. They knocked at exactly 8 p.m., both dressed like they were going to a business dinner. Marcus had a briefcase that probably had immunity deals and settlement papers inside. Mom, you look better than in weeks, Jennifer said, kissing my cheek like nothing happened. I feel better. Being clear about things does that. Marcus opened his briefcase like he'd done this before. Margaret, our lawyers made this very good for you. You keep the house, $5 million in clean money, and total freedom from any charges about Robert's stuff.
Clean money.
That's an interesting word choice. Jennifer gave Marcus a look telling him to be careful. Mom, the important thing is we're all protected. What happened stays buried, and we all move forward. What about the $33 million Robert actually left me? Mom, that money is dirty. You can't separate it from Dad's criminal stuff. Taking $5 million is the best we can do. And you too? What do you get? Marcus leaned forward, his confidence back. We move past this mistake. Jennifer's charges disappear. My name stays clean and our family can start over. Mistake. He was still calling big fraud a simple mistake. Marcus, help me understand something. When exactly did you find out about Robert's criminal business? What? I mean, did you know about the money washing when you married Jennifer? Or did you discover it when you were planning to steal my money? Marcus and Jennifer looked at each other. Margaret, I don't think that matters for what we're talking about now. Actually, I think it matters a lot. If you knew about Robert's crimes and said nothing, that makes you a criminal who helped cover it up after the fact. And if you just found out while committing your own crimes, that makes you very unlucky. Jennifer was losing her perfect face. Mom, what are you trying to say? I'm saying you two have been planning this for months, maybe years. The fake papers, the money-washing discovery, even Marcus's ties to the forgers. None of this just happened. That's crazy. Is it? Agent Martinez thinks it makes sense. The color left both their faces. Agent Martinez. Marcus whispered. FBI. She's been very interested in my story about taking advantage of an older person, fraud, and threats. Especially the part where you tried to threaten me with my dead husband's crimes. Marcus stood up fast, reaching for his briefcase. Margaret, we're done talking. Actually, Marcus, I think we're just getting started. Agent Martinez and two other federal agents walked into my living room while Victoria and Marcus sat frozen. The briefcase Marcus reached for was taken right away along with both their phones. Jennifer Sullivan Roberts and Marcus Roberts, you're under arrest for planning wire fraud, taking advantage of an older person, and trying to threaten a federal witness. Jennifer turned to me with total shock. Mom, how could you do this to your own family? The same way you could make fake papers and steal my money, sweetheart, except my way is legal. As the agents put on handcuffs, Marcus tried one more thing. Margaret, you don't understand what you've done. There are people connected to Robert's business who won't like federal attention. You've put yourself in danger. Agent Martinez paused. Mr. Roberts, are you threatening someone helping the federal government? I'm warning her about what will really happen. The reality, Agent Martinez said, is that you just added threatening a federal witness to your charges. After they were taken away, Agent Martinez sat back down across from me. Mrs. Hayes, what Marcus said might not be completely empty. Your husband was tied to some dangerous people. How dangerous? The Romano crime family mainly. They've been using real businesses to wash money for decades. Your husband's consulting work was one of their biggest operations. The name meant nothing to me, but the way she said it told me everything. Am I in real physical danger? Possibly. But there's something else you should know about your husband's work. Something that changes everything. Agent Martinez pulled out a thick folder, the kind that meant months of investigation. Mrs. Hayes, your husband wasn't just washing money for the Romano family. He was an FBI informant. For 12 years, he was giving information about their business while appearing to help them wash money. The world went sideways. Robert was working for the FBI. Deep undercover, a long investigation. The work was so important that even local FBI offices didn't know. Your husband was helping us build cases against multiple crime families. But the money was actual. The FBI let him keep some of the washed money as payment for working for us, and to keep his cover safe. Everything he left you was earned through real work with the federal government. I stared at her, trying to understand. So the $33 million is legally mine. Your husband died before the investigation finished, but his 12 years of helping us directly led to 47 arrests and taking $200 million in criminal money. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because the investigation was still going, and because we weren't sure about what you knew or didn't know. Your daughter and son-in-law's fraud actually helped us figure out you weren't involved. Jennifer and Marcus didn't know any of this. They thought there was criminal activity, but they had no idea about the federal work. They were planning to blackmail you with information that would have actually cleared your husband. The irony was so perfect it was almost funny. Jennifer had tried to steal my money twice, once through fraud and once through blackmail based on incomplete information. Agent Martinez, what happens now? Now you get your money back, your daughter and son-in-law face federal charges, and you get to choose what kind of life you want to build with your real inheritance and the danger Marcus mentioned. The Romano family will be too busy dealing with their own legal problems to think about you. We're doing search warrants across 3 states tomorrow morning. I looked around my living room, seeing it as the place where I came back to life instead of where I was destroyed. Agent Martinez, can I ask you something? Of course. In your opinion, am I a bad person for feeling happy about Jennifer's arrest? Agent Martinez smiled. Mrs. Hayes, in my opinion, you're a woman who wouldn't let herself be hurt. That's not bad. That's strong. 6 months later, I stood in the kitchen of my fixed-up house making coffee for 2. The morning sun came through new windows that actually opened right, lighting up countertops I'd picked out myself for the first time in 43 years. Good morning, Margaret. Dr. Rebecca Chen, Carol's sister and my new money advisor, came in carrying a thick folder of reports. Good morning, Rebecca. Want to go over our money reports? The past 6 months had been crazy with court stuff, media interviews, and personal changes. Jennifer and Marcus were each serving 18 months in federal prison. The news about their crimes made me known among people who work to protect older adults. Your money is doing really well, Rebecca said, sitting at my new breakfast table. The charity work I started is fully working, and the scholarship money has already picked the first people to help. The Patricia Hayes Foundation for Protecting Older Adults had become what I spent most of my time on. I was using $15 million of my inheritance to help older people who needed lawyers for family money abuse and to help change laws that protect older people. Any news about the documentary? Netflix said yes to making it. They want to start filming next month. My story had gotten big media attention beyond the first news stories. The Woman Who Won, an American crime story, was being made into a limited series, and the money was going to groups that protect older people. And Jennifer? Rebecca's face got careful. She's written again. Her lawyer says she wants to say sorry and ask if I'll forgive her. Jennifer had written me 17 letters from federal prison. I'd read the first few, which went from making excuses to begging, before I stopped opening them. Some relationships that break can't be fixed with just words. Rebecca, have I changed my mind? Not according to our talks before, but people do change, Margaret. Even people who've done really bad things. I thought about who I was 6 months ago. Sad, dependent, willing to take whatever scraps of respect my family gave me. That person might have felt like she had to forgive Jennifer, to build a new friendship based on guilt and old habits, but that person was gone. Rebecca set up a call with Jennifer's lawyer, but not to make things better, to make something clear. What kind of thing? I want Jennifer to understand that what she did had costs beyond prison time. I want her to know that she broke our relationship forever and that her kids will grow up knowing why their mother went to prison. That seems mean. Good. It's supposed to be harsh. Jennifer made adult choices that hurt people she was supposed to love. She doesn't get to skip the emotional pain just because she wrote some prison letters. Rebecca wrote in her notebook. And the grandchildren. Jennifer asked to see them with me watching. My friendship with Jennifer's kids will depend on their own choices when they grow up, not on Jennifer trying to fix things. The doorbell rang. Through the window, I could see a delivery truck with a big package. Must be the new art stuff for the studio, I told Rebecca. The art space had been my favorite part of fixing up the house. Thomas's old office was now bright and open where I was finding my love of painting again. Something I'd stopped doing when I got married and became the supporting wife and mother. Rebecca, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Do you ever regret how everything happened? The prison sentences, the media stuff, the family being completely broken. I thought about the question while I signed for my delivery. 6 months ago, I was not seen, a widow with no money, no home, and no future. Today, I was a millionaire who gives money to help others with a foundation, a documentary deal, and a purpose that was about way more than just my own survival. Rebecca, My daughter tried to take everything I owned and leave me with nothing. My son-in-law made fake papers and tried to blackmail me. They showed me exactly who they were when they thought I was weak and couldn't stop them. But they're still family. No, there's still DNA. Family are the people who help you when you're hurt, not the people who hurt you to get what they want. Rebecca closed her notebook, satisfied. Besides, I added, look what I became when I stopped letting them say who I should be. After Rebecca left, I walked through my house. Really my house now, decorated how I like it, organized around what matters to me. In the art space, I looked at my latest painting, a picture of a woman standing in bright sun. Her face, looking forward. The woman in the painting looked nothing like the sad widow who'd packed her life into 2 suitcases 6 months ago. This woman looked strong, on her own, unafraid. She looked like someone who'd learned that the best payback isn't getting even. It's becoming everything people never thought you could be. Outside, the sun was going down behind trees I'd planted myself in ground that belonged to me, on property I'd kept by being smart and brave instead of something I got from marriage or birth. Tomorrow, I'd keep building the life I picked instead of the life other people had planned for me. And if Jennifer wanted to fix our relationship with this woman, she'd need to do way more than write letters and say sorry words. She'd need to completely change who she was, the same way I changed who I was. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share your story in the comments. What you say matters.